Good evening and welcome to another edition of We Are the South Stand. Today, I am joined by my two good friends, one in a different time zone, one in a different country. Patrick, how are you over in Ireland?
Ireland is good. The weather is actually good. Though it's actually, I don't know, is it summer yet? That's spring. So the weather is
It's spring.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got a bike and I thought I could go in the bike, but going to the hospital, I wasn't going in the bike. And guess what? The day I decided to say, let me go check out that bike, the tire is flat. I was like,
always, bro. Whenever first time checking your bike out for a year, tire is always flat.
Yeah, it's fun. But thank you for having me, man.
No, thank you for being here as always. And ladies and gentlemen, where Alan is, it is 5 a.m. in the morning. I messaged him this morning in my world and said, "You about 6 p.m.?" He said, "Mate, it's 5 a.m. in the morning here." I said, "Oh, yeah, fair enough. You can't do that." He messaged back saying, "I'll see you at 6." So thank you. Thank you.
I got up at 4:30, had a shower, I came upstairs to my office and sat down with you.
And you're even dressed smartly for the show. Talking of dressed smartly,
I went straight to the office after this.
Oh, right, okay. There we go. More important than work. While we talk about being dressed smartly, our sponsor for today's show is Terrace Colt. And I thought I'd wear some Terrace Colt just to let you know. And this is one of my favorite ones. People, you need to go over to Terrace Colt and check out their overcoats. Their overcoats for the spring and for the summer are spot on, especially if you go into games as well, because they're perfect for if you go into the game and you think, oh, I don't know if it's going to be hot or cold. It's not that hot, but it still keeps you cool. You can take it off, carry it.
I've got one of the Terrace Colt coats as well, the bright blue one.
Right.
And all my mates here, Aussies, as we're heading towards winter now, still in autumn now, the way you got that coat, that looks really good.
Yeah, they're proper good quality. And of course, if you use the code, which is just there on checkout, SouthStand15, you get an extra 15% off. So please make sure you head over there. Got a quick story for you, something really funny, right? So, well, really funny, not funny, actually. It's the total opposite. It's funny. So my daughter's 9, and for anyone that knows, boys around her age and some girls around her age, it doesn't matter if you're in Manchester or where I live, which is Bedford. The kids all love Manchester City. And it's beautiful to see growing up kind of, where there weren't too many of us, right? All the kids love City. Now, there's this one young lad, not going to say his name, but Kiana's always told me, my daughter's always told me he's got a crush on her. But he supports Manchester City. So I've said, that's fine. That's fine. He sometimes comes round and knocks for her. Always nice to him. Anyway, today there's a knock at my door. So I go to answer it. And he stood there with his little mate going, "Is Kiana here?" And I looked at him and said, "Hold on a second. What is that?" He had a Real Madrid shirt on. I go, "What is that?" He goes, "Oh, it's not my fault. My mum and dad bought it. My nan bought it for me at Christmas." And I go, so I go, "Okay. Well, you don't need to be wearing that. So go back and give it to your nan." And then his mate goes, "He used to support City, but he doesn't anymore." And his face went sheepish. And I go, "What?" And he didn't say anything. He just stood there. And I go, no. Hold on a second. Is he right? You don't support City anymore? And he goes, "But we're rubbish now." He literally said he don't support City. And he's 9 and he's already turning his back on us because we're rubbish now, apparently, right? And I go, "I used to like you." I said, and I go, "Don't ever come and knock for Kiana again." Shut the door and locked it. Right? And I looked I looked through the spy hole. He looked like his heart had broken. I'm thinking he's going to go back to his mum and dad. But it is mad. It is absolutely mad. People in here, there's already over 111 people in here. I know, let me check the likes. The likes are currently at 67. Not bad, but could be better. Let's get the likes up to 100 as quickly as possible. Now, what we're going to be talking about actually, no, I haven't spoke to you two yet about Nottingham Forest. So let me get your thoughts on the Forest game.
Ian, go
Right.
ahead.
This is interesting here.
Alan, go ahead. Alan, go ahead.
Well,
Alan, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's go to the positive one first. However, I missed out. There's space for 4 of us on this panel, and I think I missed out another happy clapper. I think
Wait,
I've got.
Who's the happy clapper?
Happy.
That's
If
Martin.
you wanted to find happy clappers in this fan base, we just say Martin, okay?
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need to say.
We just say Martin, right?
Yeah.
However, neither of you two could be described as happy clappers. So,
we are happy clappers.
Alan,
we'll go with you first. What are your thoughts on the Forest game?
Frustrating is probably the best word to describe it. We weren't great. A few of them. We seem to struggle when teams sit deep on us and pack the defence.
Yeah,
and we just lack creativity. I thought Foden is having a poor season, and he plays 1 good game in 6 at the moment, which is concerning for me.
Yeah,
and you know, I'd rather be honest. I know Martin has a go at me. He thinks he's trying to say we should sell him. No, I'm not. But at the end of the day, he's not had a good time this year. He's not performed well. He looks tired half the time for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He does look a bit tired.
Yeah, I think you know, I'm not going to blame it all on him. Obviously not. But we really struggled. We struggled to create opportunities. The only times we were shooting is one from outside the box. We weren't creating, and you know, our wide players were getting in good positions again, and weren't delivering the ball. And our midfield players don't take chances to go in there and take the 50-50 chance when teams do that, and that frustrates me. And I could see it coming. I thought the goal that Forest scored, I thought Guardiola was poor on that because he let him go into the 6-yard box before he shot.
Yeah,
which annoyed me because I was shouting at the screen saying, tackle him, don't let him come too close. And Ederson, could have done better with the shot, probably should have done better, but he shouldn't be shooting from 6 yards when he was coming from deep. No way. He should have tried to tackle him, you know, outside the box for me. Because if he got past him, just bring him down outside the box.
Yeah, don't disagree with that.
Yeah, so I was very frustrated and a bit. It wasn't surprising because Forest have done that to a lot of clubs this season.
Yeah,
and they have, you know. So, you know, I don't dislike Forest. I've been to the City Ground quite a number of times and seen City before. I was at the game when I think he was Dibble got the ball taken out of his hands.
Yeah.
I was there that day. So at the end of the day, we got beat, and now it puts us in a position where it's 50-50 for the top 4, in my opinion.
50-50?
Yeah. Do you think we're still very confident about the top 4? Because I'm like...
right. So where I am... right. Here's where I am. It's been very difficult to judge where we are over recent weeks, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, we know that we're not Manchester City of last season, the season before, the season before that, the season before that, the season before that, the season before that, the season before that. We could keep going for about 13 seasons, pretty much, right? We know we're not that team, but how much we've come on since November, December, and early January has been difficult to really see, and I think this is where our frustrations come from, because the run of games we've had. Right now, we've lost to Real Madrid. They're Real Madrid.
Yeah,
we've also, the only other teams we've lost to in the Premier League are the 3 teams that are above us in the league. We've lost to Liverpool, we've lost to Arsenal, we've lost to Nottingham Forest. Right.
Yeah.
All of our other games since mid-January, I think it is, have been against. We've done all right in. We've done all right in, but the frustration I think's come is because we've had such a hard run. every time we start looking okay, we come up against a Real Madrid or an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a Nottingham Forest, and then we lose, right?
Yeah.
And then we're back to, oh, fucking hell, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Frustration.
It's inconsistency, isn't it?
It's inconsistent. But I think the key here, I'm saying, by the way, is I'm not saying we're back, but I'm saying it's difficult to judge the improvements. I do definitely think there's been that, like, I've had this conversation on Sunday with rivals, and since we've made the signings, the key thing before we made the signings is anybody could waltz through our midfield.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah.
People aren't waltzing through our midfield now, right? Defensively, I do believe we have got better since we've signed the players we've signed. I think the problem is, going forward, I don't think necessarily we've got better. You know, we've got better if we're playing up against a team that are stupid and allow us to get in behind them, because then we can play Marmoush, Haaland, because I think Haaland's playing, when Haaland plays alongside Marmoush, he plays slightly different. But here's the thing. We look at the games we've got now, and they're all winnable games. I'm going to say every single one, all winnable. But the difference this season to last season or the season before is, when I say they're all winnable, there's a caveat. Yeah. It isn't like last season or the season before that, where we go, this is City, business end of the season, and we just roll over these teams.
Yeah.
Not one of these games. So let me repeat, they're all winnable, but not one of these games are going to be easy, right? Brighton at home is not easy. They're in a fight.
They might smoke us. They might smoke us.
Right. Define smokers.
I don't know, and
No, young man. You choose the word smokers, not beat us, right?
Okay. So this is what I'm saying. We were looking at all the games we're going to play after this, and I think everybody has had that speech. But I'm looking at that Brighton midfield, and maybe if it depends on what Pep does, because if Pep decides to say, okay, we're going to do this tiki-taka nonsense, which I'm calling it nonsense these days, because people keep saying, oh, but that's what as one of stuff. You can change. A manager can change.
Yeah.
Brighton with is it Belera or Beleba? Is it Belera?
Belieber.
Yeah. If he plays in with some of the midfielders around him with the engine they have, and looking at our team, if he doesn't set it up the right way, let's say if he brings in Bernardo Silva and Foden again, which we all knew at the Nottingham Forest that there's not going to be any creativity here, we might actually struggle. We might actually have a point where Brighton run us in midfield and Brighton outscore us in this game. That's why I mean, like, they might smoke us.
Do you think that Brighton... See, here's the thing. This is where... Do you think that Brighton will come and play a low block against us?
I don't know. Brighton are funny. They sometimes will come with the mid block. Sometimes they'll try to pack it. Then sometimes they'll try to hit you on the counter. But then sometimes they'll just open up. So it depends what Brighton comes to us. But I'm just thinking that even away at Brighton did not pack the bus.
Right, good, perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. So we don't think Brighton are good. Because here's the thing. Whereas in the past, we don't like playing teams that park the bus and hit us on the counter. Right? Now, and do that well. We like teams that come and play open football against us. Now, if Brighton try and do that against us, that's where we can all of a sudden thrive again. You know, that's when Tottenham tried to, play the high line. I'm not saying Brighton are Tottenham, but I think we would rather play somebody that comes and tries to play football against us. And I'm not even saying that we'll then outpass them, because we won't do that anymore. But we need people to open up at the back of it, because if they come and try and attack us, perfect, right? As long as we have the right team on the pitch.
Yeah, that's what depends on it, isn't it? I don't know. And you know what? This is quite funny. The fact that this is what I was telling. I think Martin earlier on was saying he doesn't mind the fact that obviously we're not doing well. He says he's supporting is the fact that he supports with passion. I get that, but I can't be sitting here, right? With the standard City I've brought up. For me, for all of us, even Alan, maybe you agree with me. I can't be sitting here all of us, and looking at those games, Brighton, Crystal Palace, and having fear in my heart, especially with this new City team. This is bad for this. I can't be scared of Brighton. I'm even scared of Southampton away. That Southampton can pack the bus.
I think, mate. I think what it is at the moment, you've no idea what City will turn up, right? That is the thing. You have absolutely no idea what Team City are going to turn up with. You don't know what's going to happen. But obviously, I'm used to that because I supported since 1971. Right, and trust me, that's a long time. And I went through the 80s and the 90s when we were.
So you were a Glory supporter, technically.
Yeah.
You are a Glory supporter, aren't you?
Mate, I used to just like when I first went, my dad took me in the Kippax and sat me on the bars that you lean on. He put me on there in front of him watching games in 1971, 72, and that was it. I was in love, and that was it at Main Road. And I went through the good times in the 70s and the iffy times in the 80s. I went through the Malcolm Ellison and then John Bond era when we got to Wembley in 81. I was at both of those finals. So, and then obviously the shit times when Peter Swales overspent and left us in the shit.
That's where I joined you pretty much, around Swales Out. Swales Out was some of my early memories.
Yeah, well, I was outside the main stand with you. Swales Out, and that was me.
And madly, they got rid of Swales, and we got Fanny Lee in, who we all wanted, and then that's where shit went fucking wrong.
It was too much damage. It was too much damage done.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he couldn't do nothing. A guy with the toilet roll company couldn't really turn things around.
Yeah, but Alan, I get that. I get that, but that's not. But this particular one is not that particular Man City wasn't dropping 200 grand in January, were they?
200 mil. 200 mil.
200 mil, yeah, 200 mil.
Peter Swales went crazy, mate. Trust me. Yeah. He's buying all his players, and then Malcolm Ellison was buying kids that no one ever heard of for ridiculous money, and it was Steve McKenzie.
Arsenal was also done for buying kids. I saw an article where Arsenal were done for buying and manipulating people's parents to let them go.
I think. Sorry, what? I was just going back to what Patrick. I'm thinking.
Oh no, I was talking about. I think Alan was about to answer me. The fact that I was saying, it's quite funny to sit here now, especially with the standard City have set for us to sit down and start doubting Brighton, because Brighton was our food. Even on Brighton, we're better than this. Remember?
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. Brighton have always given us. I mean, especially
they lose to us though. They always lose to us.
They do, but they've given us a game the last few years, even when they lose.
Yes. They're a good side, mate. They're a good side.
I remember Trossard giving us a nightmare. I think we actually won that game 2 or 3-1, but Trossard's still giving us a nightmare. But this is where we are, and this is something I pulled Martin up on yesterday a bit, that I do believe that all the games we have left this season are winnable, right?
Winnable games, yeah.
They're winnable, but they're not games where I'm just going, right, I'm used to going to the Etihad over recent years and thinking, if it is a home game, it's 3 points, right?
Correct.
And if it isn't 3 points, it's a bit of an anomaly. Whereas I'm going this weekend and I'm kind of thinking, it's not an easy game. It's definitely not an easy game. And this is almost like a 6-pointer, because they are in the title race. God, they are in the fight for top 5. But I do think, it's about looking at the teams around us, who they've got to play, who we've got to play. I'm confident we get Champions League football. I am, right?
Good.
I am confident, yeah, because I do think with the players we have, that we have to look at the context. The context is, since we've brought in these players, we've only lost to teams below us, yeah? We haven't lost
above us. Oh.
Sorry, only lost to teams above us. Lost to the teams above us. And it's hard because then we're not looking at... like we haven't got a run together, right? We have not got one run together, but that's because of the teams we've been playing. We've had a difficult run of games, a very fucking difficult run of games. But let's move on from that. What I wanted to discuss today with you two is who because we all know there's a rebuild, right? We've bought 4 in the summer, 5 in January. We know there's more coming in the summer. But, you know, if I look at the comments now, I mean, there was one that I don't think I started, but there was one a lot earlier that said, so obviously I made the thumbnail, and on the thumbnail, I could only fit, I think, 8 players on it. I think it was. Let me have a quick look at it.
What do you put?
Well, yeah. So let me just find it. So on the thumbnail, I could only fit 10 players, right? Not 8, 10 players.
Did you manage to fit KDB?
Right. So who I put on it was Bernardo, KDB, Kovacic, Gundogan, Grealish, Rico Lewis, Ederson, John Stones, Matheus Nunes, and MCATEE. Now, that is not me saying that I want all 10 gone. I do not believe it's wise for any club to get rid of 10 fucking players in a transfer window, right? Even more so, even if we brought in 4 in January like we did, and we go, or maybe we brought in 5 actually, Echeverri, sorry. So we brought in 5 in January. Even if we then went and brought in another 5 in the summer, I don't think you should be making those changes. But straight away in the comments, I saw who did I see? I saw, what about ABDUKODIR and Akanji? Get them out of my club, right? Really? Really? But we can speak on everyone. So let's start there firstly. You two, ABDUKODIR and Akanji. Either of you two think it's time for them to move on?
No.
I think I lean more at ABDUKODIR, but I think it depends on which ABDUKODIR comes back. And maybe this foot thing was his issue. Maybe this was the issue. Do you know how like players struggle with something and they keep saying, I don't want to get surgery, until they got the surgery, then they play. But the thing about ABDUKODIR is, after this, is he still going to be playing international games? Yes, he will. It depends on how fit he stays, you know.
Going to frustrate.
Yeah, that's the issue with ABDUKODIR. I think every time he goes to international game, he gets injured. This Akanji thing, I think people are just being reactionary. I think Akanji has to stay. If there's somebody who you have to drop the name, is John Stones. I'll drive him to the airport.
Okay. Yeah. So with ABDUKODIR, you're spot on. ABDUKODIR has been playing with an injury for quite some time, right? We have so's Akanji. Well, at points, so was Diaz as well. And also, by the way, just I know he's gone now, although he's actually one of our players. Kyle Walker was also playing with an injury. So earlier on this season, a lot of points this season, a lot of our defenders have been playing with injuries because of the fact that they had to, right? Yeah, correct. So here's where I stand on John Stones, and where I stand on Nathan ABDUKODIR, and where I stand on Akanji, all 3 of them, is I do not believe that we can go and get rid of 10 players and bring in, like, not in one transfer window, right? So you have to prioritize. Now, we have bought Khusanov, we have bought Vitor Hayes, right? And also, I think we've got another young lad that's over in France that there's a lot of noise.
Is it Juma?
Yeah, who looks unbelievable, right? Now, I don't necessarily think we have to rush out and get rid of players that, yes, have injuries and, yes, are injury prone, but when they come back and play, make a difference. Yeah. John Stones is a perfect example for me. Yes, I get he's injured. He gets injured a lot. But when he plays, is he good?
He's the best defender we've got when he's fit.
And that's where, with a year left on his contract, is he a priority? Because we're not getting money for him, by the way, if he goes. We're not going to...
We're going to sign a player that only plays 15 games a season.
Exactly. So, and if it was one of those ones where he comes back and the first couple of games he's absolutely dog shite, I'd go, do you know what? Get rid of him, right? But
I just think of the players that we're talking about. Stones, ABDUKODIR, and Akanji. ABDUKODIR and Akanji have played through majority of the season with injuries because we've had to play them with injections in them. And if we don't have them, we wouldn't have had anybody. You know, most of the season, our centre halves have played through serious injuries, and you know, now it's just come to a head. That's why we've got the young lads in January. When it comes, I think ABDUKODIR there's no way we should sell him on the basis that he can also play left full
Left back. Yeah. I agree on that.
So he can play centre half, and he's a bloody good defender. And he also have to play left full back, because if we got an injury on the left full back area, he slots in and does a brilliant job.
Yeah, I mean, I know Vardy going forward has been sensational.
Defenders were that great.
I'm still of the belief that Nathan Ake at left back was better than Vardy.
Yeah, he is better. He is way better. He is way better.
It's been one of my frustrations with Pep is, and I think now the strange thing is that when we see Vardy playing more centrally, he looks almost like he's forgot a little bit how to play there, because he's been so used to concentrating on a different part of his game. And, you know, at times I've thought, why don't we just go back to playing Ake at left back? And he's going
to have to play there, though. Vardy is going to have to play there. Come on, we did not play
at this point now. We can't move him. Yeah.
Do you know what I was saying? Now, no. I mean, like, eventually, one day, we're going to have to see Vardy back as a centre back. I'm pretty sure we didn't drop. I know that he's amazing and this and that, but I don't know if Alan agrees with me or you agree with me yourself. I'm just seeing this, looking at this City team, talking about these centre backs. If we also had 4 backs, I think we wouldn't have had these issues. I think this thing where people are like, oh, we can never go back to 4 backs because that, like, I made an example and somebody laughed at me, was it months ago? And I said, teams with 4 backs are the ones that are going to be more dangerous going forward. Look at PSG with 2 competent 4 backs. Very dangerous, very good. This thing where you're like, oh, we need a centre back at the back is only for teams where your centre backs are poor. That means we have to admit that City centre backs are poor. Because look at PSG, right? All the 2 4 backs were bombing in front, but the centre backs could still deal with Salah and them people. So
do you know what? I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. As far as our centre backs, I will still stand here and say I don't believe any of our centre backs are poor. Right? I believe I have major issues with all of their availability this season, bar Vardy, right? I have major issues with all of their availability, right? And the fact that we haven't been able to play, we haven't been able to form any type of centre-back partnerships at all this season, which is massive, absolutely huge. But you know, I refuse to have a conversation about any of them being poor centre-backs. I don't think they're poor centre-backs. I think they've been exposed without the DM, 1,000,000%. The same way Liverpool were exposed when they had Fabinho injured all season. And then Van Dijk got injured. They were exposed. And I think that's been the issue. I like fullbacks, though. I do like fullbacks.
This is what I'm saying. That I'm not trying to say that our centre-backs are poor. I was like, that means that we're trying to admit that we have to cover them by putting a back 4. I don't know. This back 4, for me, I know Pep loves it. It's just, I think it's also one of the issues in this team. Because if you think about it, every team that has got this bombing 4 backs, the 4 backs actually help in creating and actually help in attracting. Like if you see when the 4 backs go in, isn't it? Even if you saw PSG, where even let's say sometimes Liverpool, when the 4 backs bomb in front, it looks like the other players are busy with the 4 backs. It gives the wingers an opportunity sometimes to cut in.
We're missing runners. We're missing. Yeah. I think one of the biggest things if you ever think prime Manchester City, you always think of all the runners you had, right? And that you had your pass masters and they had runners. And you know, I always say Raheem Sterling got the numbers he got because of the amount of runners we had. That defenses could not handle the amount of people hitting the box at the same time, right?
No, we can't.
And you know, the Walker overlapping. Yeah. You know, you'd have Mahrez, you'd have Walker overlapping.
Cancelo, even though people hate him, Cancelo.
And I do. This is where for me, I do massively with any sort of Pep slander. Kind of go, look. And I'll repeat, there will never be a day that I ever say, get Pep out of my club. Never, right? There might be a day where I say, it's a conversation and maybe it's time for City and Pep to part ways. There will never be a day where I say, Pep, get out of my club. In fact, to be honest with you, there's very few players in this team now, if any, that I would still ever say, get out of my club. Because I don't want to say that to people that have brought so much happiness. But there's a conversation, a lot of them. Now, if we get Pep the resources and next season, we're still not seeing great stuff on the pitch. It is a conversation, but I think at the moment we need to see the resources. Now let's move on to the middle of the park. Go on, unless there's something else.
I think that very, very quickly we've got to accept And everybody's got to accept that from the start of the season and when Rodri went down, is that we've never played the same defence back four from game to game. We're literally patching it up with half-fit players. And in the ideal scenario, when a player gets injured, you let them get fully fit, not bring them back on the day that they can run around the practice ground. You know, it's literally been like that all season. So we've got to give a benefit of the doubt to Pep on that. But go on,
do you know what? I think there as well, top of the league. Hayes, Bar, Diaz, Vardy, centre back. How many do we need? Yeah, we've got a lot of centre backs. I really want to see Khusanov at right back. Agreed. Really, really want to see that. And I honestly, I am convinced that we are going to see that. I think at the moment we've been unfortunate that we've hardly been able to see it because of the fact that we've had so many injuries. But I think a fully fit City and Khusanov would be starting on the right. There's no coincidence with Walker leaving in his pace. We've brought in a player that's young and potentially quicker than Walker, which sounds bizarre saying. Two players I want to mention, right? First, I didn't put... I was like that with putting Rico Lewis on the thumbnail because however much I feel Rico Lewis has got a lot of slander this season. Some of it deserved, some of it not. He is a young player, right? And again, for that reason, I think there's a lot of older players and players that maybe aren't as flexible as Rico Lewis in this team. Now, I don't think Rico Lewis should be a starter. But me personally, I also think Rico Lewis, as part of a treble winning team, was a great squad player, right? Rico Lewis, part of a Premier League winning team, was a great squad player. I still think Rico Lewis could be a great squad player. However, there is also the thing that if we sold Rico Lewis, we'd get good money for him.
I try and stick up for him because he's a local Bury lad from Radcliffe. And, you know, that's where I grew up in Whitefield and bought a house in on the other side of Bury in Tottington area. So I'll stick up for him. I know his dad.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult one because I'm struggling to work out what his best position is. That's where I'm coming from. I want him to do well. He struggled at times at the right fullback at times because of being out of position a lot.
Yeah.
And in midfield, I think he's good when things are going well. He keeps the ball moving.
There we go.
When a team is struggling, he's being pushed off the ball too easy. So it's a difficult one. I agree with you. As a squad player, when things are going well in midfield, he can come on and do a job. But if we're struggling defensively, I think we struggle with him.
Yeah,
he's only small.
I agree. I think the comments, but would we all agree Rico's a squad player? I don't think he's a priority that we need to get rid of. Right. No. The next one to move on with that is, and probably the first real talking point, Matheus Nunes.
No.
No, as in what? Bye-bye.
Do you see that? Bye-bye. This is what makes me laugh. On the Nunes part, I have seen a lot of people say no, but yet there's a lot of the useless. Obviously, that's a bad word to use, but there's a lot of players you'd rather get rid of in this team than Nunes. Mate, I
want to say something. What he should be doing is driving the tram from the Etihad to Piccadilly Station. That's what he should be doing, right? And I'll be honest with you, he's a mid-table player, he's a Wolves player.
Yeah, right? but where did we get most of these players?
I'll ask you a question: is Nunes a player you want in a championship-winning side? He's not good enough.
Yeah, but that statement you've made is majority of these players, we picked them up from not so great teams. We picked up John Stones from Everton.
I know, I'm not saying that.
And then we picked up Grealish from I'm trying to say in general that he's just one of those that he was
bought as a central midfielder. He's now been played at fullback and right or left wing, right?
But isn't that Pep Guardiola's fault though?
He's not. Yeah, but he's not good enough.
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes we point at these players, yet it's Pep Guardiola who's putting them in certain positions for him to accommodate his favorites. Am I wrong to say that? That's how it is. Like the Pep Guardiola will play a player a certain place just to accommodate his favorites, which is true. Because I'm thinking that I watched a game where Bernardo Silva and Gundogan were playing. I was like, I'd rather just throw in Nunes in that midfield. Because what's the difference?
He should be driving the tram.
So we're still on Nunes.
Yeah.
He's a tram driver. That's all he is.
I feel like if you're going on the list of midfielders to go, Nunes is not even at the top. I think so.
Unfortunately, he might be a nice guy, but the nice guys never win. Bye-bye.
Yeah, but so wait. You're telling me that wait a minute. So you're telling me that you'd rather get rid of Nunes and keep Lewis?
Yeah.
I think Lewis, for me, do you want to hear my personal opinion, Rico Lewis? I think Rico Lewis is useless. I think if I was to ask you on this panel, which top team would take Rico Lewis as a right back? Oh, wait.
But he's not a right back.
Yeah, but what is he then?
He's a midfielder. He's a box-to-box man.
He's useless. He's the most useless box-to-box I've ever seen. Let me give an example.
Patrick, going forward, in the final third of the pitch, my man is a good midfielder. Now, hold on. As far as who would take him in midfield, I think is a difficult question because we haven't seen him yet there.
Exactly.
Right? I'll be honest with you. For me, Rico Lewis is not good enough to be at Manchester City.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to say.
He's not. He's a squad player. He's not. He's a squad player, a utility player. But I actually think genuinely he probably needs to go somewhere where he's profiled in the right position and where he can.
Where is he going to go though? Because I don't think any other manager apart from Pep will take him.
Premier League, bro. We can play in the Premier League. He's definitely good enough to play in the Premier League.
Are we talking? We're talking down the table, right? We're going down.
Bro, we could go down the table, but it's the Premier League's all over the gaff at the moment. Because
I don't know. It's just like Lewis. I like him, like the fact that he's a smart player. But I keep thinking, I was like, if we're being serious,
we have to remember his age. His age is very true as well. Let's think about this. He's 20 still, I think.
I have seen 20-year-olds play better than him. Look at Joao Neves. Joao Neves is 21, 20, isn't it?
Yeah, but what you're doing, you're pulling out players that are like top players and compare Rico Lewis, and it's not fair to compare him to Neves.
That's what I'm trying to say.
He's being played in his correct position. And I'm not here defending Rico Lewis thinking long term we should build a team around Rico Lewis, right? I'm not. But he's good enough to play in the Premier League 100%, but not at a team that thrives to challenge in the Champions League and challenge to the league.
Somebody says the kid is still learning. This kid's... You know what? This is the same thing. I'm going to go with Alan. Alan told me that Nunes is useless. And okay, let me accept that. I just think if you look at our squad...
No, I didn't say he's useless. I said he's very good at driving trams around Manchester.
No,
hold on. But wouldn't you say with Rico Lewis, it's very difficult, right? He's been part of this setup from the age of, I believe, 17, right?
Yeah.
Now he has been playing out of position for 3 years. Yeah. So when you say it is a bit harsh on his development that he's basically had to redevelop himself at the age of 17 to play in a different position. So I still think, and like I said, I'm not passionate about keeping him based on building a team around him. But if we're being real, the players that we are about to move on are players that our whole system is based on being part of the first 11. Rico Lewis, for me, if I was Rico, I'd want to leave City to go and play in the position I feel more comfortable in and to develop, right?
Championship.
A championship, but hold on.
Somebody said Spain. Somebody said send him to Spain.
Bro, I mean, maybe. Do you know what? Just quickly, I was actually saying in the last summer, that I actually felt last summer would have been a good time to loan Rico Lewis out, right? Last summer, yeah? Whether it be to Girona, whether it would have been to a club like Brighton, as example. But
Cosmos, is it Cosmos? Where is it Fabregas again? Fabregas is playing good football.
For me, I would have loaned him out somewhere to get a bit of development and a bit more game time. Because for me, I don't want to see him. I really want to see what he can do in an 8 role, right? That's what I want to do. Yeah. I would have loaned him out just to see what he can do in his preferred position and then make a call on it. Right? With Nunes, the reason, right, Patrick, you're a good one to talk on Nunes because I think you do like Nunes. You probably were speaking while I was sorry. I was just going to get let my daughter in. Do you think Nunes? Because there's 2 players for me that I think we should maybe keep, but I think we'll get right. I think Nunes and Jack Grealish, both of them have a similar shout. I think there is a place to see them, and we need to see them in those places before we get rid. And their age, again, for those reasons, but I don't think Pep will. And that's where I'm like, well, maybe we cut our losses then. And that's with Nunes and Grealish, because they're 2 players that if we sold them in the summer, we'd get some money for them, right?
Yeah, you definitely get money. Yeah, you definitely get money. But you know, the issue is that this is what I keep saying. Like, I don't back Nunes. I just feel like somehow something just tells me that as much as people say Pep Guardiola is in control of the transfers, I think there's certain transfers. Even, do you know what? When I saw that it's not always Pep Guardiola, that sometimes they suggest to him, and then he's like, okay, that's what you're giving me. Or Marmoush, did you hear what he said in his press? Oh, they told me that bringing Marmoush, then I had to make a phone call and see what sort of player Marmoush is, but it was already too late. He was sort of trying to say, you know, the club had already bought him. I just think like when they bought Nunes, they just bought him as like, oh, here is a midfielder. You once raved about him, but there's certain players I just don't think 100% Pep wants them, because I think if he wants you, he'll play you for no reason. Like, look at what he did with Jack Grealish, where Jack Grealish was stinking and he still played him. Calvin Phillips is one of them. I think he never really fancied.
Right. We're not even, by the way, that is a relevant point on Calvin Phillips and Kyle Walker. They're both on loan, but I think we both agree both of those we cut our losses in the summer, right? Sorry, 2 super chats, both from Martin. First one is, ask Alan if Plodry and Sterling are still crap.
Sterling is big time crap. Plodry turned it round after 1 year.
Did you used to call him Plodry?
Yeah, the first year it was me.
You see, that's why nobody. You see, that's why nobody trusts Alan with midfielders.
In the words of Lee Gunner, stinker and hooked. Sorry, he's gone. No, I'm joking.
I used to call him Plodry first year he was at City when he struggled.
And now Martin's calling out. Now Martin's calling out. Pat, you wanted academy lads. Now you're selling them. Right.
By the way, Martin, I have an answer for you. There's certain academy lads. Like, do you know who right now? I feel like no matter what people are saying about him, I think it's still unfair on him. And I know a lot of people go after me and say, oh, he's been given chances.
Who?
MCATEE, James MCATEE.
Do you know what? Before we move on to the obvious ones, he's another one. And I think all the ones that we spoke of so far, because by the way, anyone watching this is probably going, Daps, you want to keep everyone, right? Listen, every single player I've discussed so far, I've discussed for a reason that I have massive concerns over them. My biggest concern is I don't want 10 players leaving in the summer because I think that's unachievable. So with Grealish,
I'm with you on that. I think it needs to be four or five each year.
Yeah,
need to go. Yeah, no more, because it's suicide if we get rid of 10 straight away. And we've got to be realistic about how many people we bring in.
Yeah,
because they're not all available that we're players that we want. So 4, maximum 5 per year, not anymore.
And you can't get rid of 7. That's ridiculous. 7 is ridiculous.
And that's where I am with. I think it's really interesting because, and it's really difficult to be honest with you, because you've got players for me that we're going to move into them in a minute that I certainly think it's time to go, but then you don't want to get rid of all your experience at the same time. Right.
Correct.
You certainly don't want to rush and get rid of players just because they've had an injury hit season, because we have to remember a lot of these players haven't been injured for several seasons, right?
Yeah.
It's just all of a sudden they've got injured once. But then also you do have to look at the market value, and you have to look at you also have to look at players like Nunes, players like Jack Grealish that maybe haven't been played in a position that maybe they could be played in. Grealish. But then you also have to look at the fact that you get money for these players. And like McAtee's another one. If we sold McAtee, we'd get good money for him because it's 100% profit. So
the thing is with Grealish, I like Jack Grealish, right? I'm a fan of his. Okay?
I've heard he's a fan of yours as well, Alan. So
thank you for that. Thank you. I like Jack Grealish, and the problem you've got with Jack, yes, he's had an injury hit season again. Yeah, is that he's on so much money per week at City. Yeah, we bought him in for a lot of money, and he's got 2 years left on his contract. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. And he's only had one good season.
Yeah, just listen. He's on 300 grand a week at City.
Yeah.
If he goes anywhere in the Premier League, anywhere, he's not going to get 300 grand a week.
I think the one thing I would say on it is that there is a reason why players are paid what they're paid, right? Some players are paid what they're paid because they're that damn good. Kevin De Bruyne is an example, right?
Yeah.
There's some players that are paid what they're paid because their market value and their commercial value brings that. A prime example is Omar Marmoush has not done enough to guarantee. I think Marmoush is on, I think, round about 300k a week. Now, Omar Marmoush has not done enough in his career to warrant that money yet. However, as the Prince of Egypt, right, that's why he's got that much money. Now, Jack Grealish is a similar one. I never think that Jack Grealish was worth 100 million. I don't think he's worth the wage that he's on. However, commercially, he was. Yeah. And there will be an element of that.
The problem is, if he goes anywhere, they're not going to pay him that. So we're going to have to pay him.
No, mate, but they do
going to have to pay the difference.
Because he won't. But I actually think that his wage is probably a bit of an issue to Pep at this point, because and probably knowing, you know what, the amount of games he's playing and the amount of money he's on,
and the amount of output, he brings.
I hear it. It's a shame because I really do think this season, with how much we're missing, De Bruyne's bursts from deep, you know, picking the ball up and running with it. It's frustrating that we haven't seen Grealish or McAtee playing in an 8 role. Very, very, very frustrating.
It is.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's more frustrating is when we've seen those two make runs from deep, it's looked good. And that's what's even more frustrating. With both of them, you can say, I've seen them doing that and it's looked good.
McAtee scored more goals than most of the midfielders we have. I think he has.
Well, if we're doing stats, Nunes is our second highest assist.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is, this is what I keep telling people, that the fact that our midfielders have been rubbish, and the ones that are considered as excess, the Nunes, the McAtees, the Jack Grealish, are the ones who've got assists and got something to offer. Like Jack Grealish against the Forest was unplayable as a midfielder.
Yeah, he was.
That's why I'm saying, is it harmful to just say Foden, Gundogan, KDB and Bernardo are sitting this one out? These guys can try also. You know what I mean? That's what I can say.
Listen, I'm telling you now, when I looked at that lineup on Saturday to face them, I had a real moment. I looked at it and thought, why am I not excited? Right? Why am I not looking at this team and excited?
Because you knew there's no creativity.
There's no creativity. And I looked at Foden, and Foden, we had a chat about Foden yesterday because I was ready to really throw my toys out the pram on him because of the fact that, you know, however much we want to stick up for Foden, his lack of creativity is frustrating. But then, and it's because in my head, I've been thinking, Foden, just step the fuck up and do the De Bruyne job, right? But he's not Kevin De Bruyne. And he's played alongside Kevin De Bruyne for seasons because he's not that. But we just need somebody. We've got no one that makes those runs from deep. And that's where I think if I saw a City lineup with Jack Grealish playing in the 8 role, so just to confirm, we'd have Doku and whether it be Doku, whether it be Marmoush, we'd have Savio. If I then saw Grealish on the same lineup, I'd think, okay, right? We're going to have someone picking the ball up and driving at teams. And it's just that frustration that I know we never have that.
He played against Forest and looked good in that position.
I know. I know. We've seen it over the years. But here's the thing. We know it's not going to happen. So based on that, I think it's time.
I'll be honest with you, mate.
Time for him to go.
It's hard for me to say it, but Foden needs to be dropped. He doesn't deserve a place in the first team.
He doesn't at all. He doesn't.
Yeah, and he has to take that on the chin and get the consistency back into his game. Yeah. Because at the moment, 1 game in 6, it doesn't warrant a first team place.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think we spoke on it yesterday. It's next. You know what, right? In Foden's come up, he's always had competition for his place. I remember Pep saying once that it's easy to manage a player when they're young, they're growing, and they've got a competition for their place. When they all of a sudden cement the place, it makes them more difficult to manage, right? Because, and this is where it is for Foden, that I honestly believe next season is a pivotal moment for Phil Foden, in that position will not naturally be his, right?
It won't. Yeah.
We've already seen Marmoush come in, who can play in that role. And look, Marmoush is not, I think we all know, any players that we've just signed, right, they're going to be getting game time next season.
Yeah.
We've also got Echeverri. And I think Echeverri is a real problem for Phil Foden. A real problem. And I think Pep will be, and, you know, the sporting directors at the club, it will be right. It's not just a given that Foden is in the team.
We've got potentially the best winger in the club, best wide man in the club, in Oscar Bob, to come back into the team as well.
100% agreed. I think Bob, for me, Bob then allows us to have, because going into the season, we were thinking, right, we've got Doku, Grealish that can play on the left. We've got Bob and Savio that can play on the right. And I think Bob will be massive for us. Echeverri, though, is a huge, and someone just mentioned him. I am convinced we're going to throw the kitchen sink at getting WIRTZ in the summer. Convinced of it. I think there's a reason why
do you think he wants to come?
How bad is that injury, by the way? How bad is that injury?
What injury?
He's injured.
Did he get injured?
Yeah, he. What's his injury? I think it's somebody said it was serious.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If we want him, it won't matter. When we bought Gundogan, he just got a big injury. It won't matter. If we want a player, then Pep will say just push forward with it.
Because everyone you speak to, every channel you watch on television, and when you live abroad, you watch anything to do with City. If you ligament injury in his right ankle.
I mean, it depends. That's what the medical's there for. Yeah, that's what the medical's there for. But I just think every person you speak to has got a different opinion. If WIRTZ wants to come or he doesn't want to come. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No one's given us an answer properly.
Yeah.
And saying, I agree with you. If we can get him, go and get him. Right. With all day long.
And it's throw the kitchen. It's one of those ones where, if we look at Haaland and we look at Kevin De Bruyne, right? Because they're the two signings I would compare this to. Signings where, at that moment, are they that big a player that you throw the fucking kitchen sink at? And these are two players. Are these when there's a player that everyone knows they're going to hit the ground running, they're going to come in, they're going to make a difference, right? Yeah. Now we never got.
But every big club in Europe's after him.
Right, same with De Bruyne.
Madrid,
bro, same with De Bruyne, same with Haaland, right? Now, and both of them have said, like, these footballers of that elite level, they look at everything. They don't just make a decision based on X, Y, and Z. They don't make a decision based on where their manager might end up, their current manager might end up. They make a decision for the right decision. Now, Manchester City, if they throw the kitchen sink at signing, they get it done. Right, we got it done with Haaland. We got it done with Kevin De Bruyne. We are at a point where we must get this signing done. For me, it's a must. And then that has a knock-on effect. Now, let's move on to the real people we need to talk on. Bernardo Silva, lads, we keep in, or do you think it's time to?
I think keep him. I think the only reason why I was one of the people saying leave. He has to leave, but I thought about it. I was like, There's a list in my head, and people like Silva and certain people, even Kovacic, they're at the bottom. There's certain people that would rather walk out first because they are the ones who are going to hold on a position. I get that people say Pep is obsessed with Bernardo Silva, but that's also another fault. It's because Pep is obsessed with him and plays him regardless the fact that sometimes it's not suiting. But I think Silva, 29 years old, I know people are saying
he's only 29 still.
I know people are saying he's stinking, but where are you gonna get another Bernardo Silva? Because let's not forget, yes, I think this is just out of form Bernardo Silva. It's not finished, but people keep saying finished. I don't think he's finished. And
do you think this is right? Do you think this is relevant, Patrick?
Yeah, he needs to rest. Yeah,
you've got to remember Bernardo Silva's been one of our overplayed players, and I don't mean this season. I mean of the last 5 seasons, right? I think that's a massive issue with, you know, when we're looking at, there's players, we'll move on to De Bruyne, but Gundogan, Bernardo, we've always been able to rotate these players, whereas this season we haven't been able to rotate them. I'm with you on Bernardo, but his age. But I do also think, like, maybe at times this season, Bernardo has looked like he cares less than he used to.
Yeah, that's another thing. Somebody told me that it looks like he doesn't have the desire. But who's had the desire this season? But okay, let me ask the chat this thing where they're saying, "Oh, Bernardo Silva, there's no care." What about Foden? Because Foden sometimes looks like he doesn't care. So let's bin Foden too, as we've been Bernardo.
Yeah, I think the reason why I didn't put Foden on the thumbnail is his age, right?
Yeah,
it's his age. It's the season he had last season that we're not gonna like. Right, everyone is allowed to have a bad season. It's not ideal, and it'll piss me off, and I'll talk on it. But everyone is allowed to have a bad season, especially when they're younger. The problem is with the likes of De Bruyne, the likes of Gundogan, the likes of anyone that's basically in their 30s, that if you have a bad season, then you're thinking, do you know what? We've probably seen your prime now. Whereas with Foden, maybe we saw his prime last season, but he's still at an age that we would expect him to have another season like that. But with the older lot, you don't expect them to have another season. So, all right, let's move on. Gundogan.
Goodbye.
Can I just say about Bernardo before you think something about my say? He's an absolute shoo-in to stay for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not get rid of him. He plays in so many positions for Pep. It's ridiculous. He can play him anywhere, right? And he's got legs. Yes, he's been overplayed over the last few years. Yes, possibly he's not got the desire anymore. But that could be changed on attitude. That's a mentality thing, right? He's too good a footballer. Now, Martin will hate this because Martin's been wanting him to go for 6 years. He's been saying and you know that, Patrick.
He's
going.
Hold on. Thinking or wanting, there's a big difference.
Martin has been telling us that.
He has.
Hold on, but no, there's a big difference here. I need to hear this because before I start him, because listen, Bernardo Silva, by the way, so you know, has been my favourite City player for years. My favourite.
So is mine as well. He's my favourite.
So did Martin want him to go, or did Martin think he was going to go?
No, he was saying the sources say he is going.
Right, okay, that's different. I can't slander him on that one. Then.
Yeah. Oh, you thought you wanted to get rid of him.
We've been arguing. We've been arguing on Spaces, on the channel with him, right? That Bernardo's leaving. Yes, you have, Martin. He's just come on. Yes, you have. You've been telling everybody he's going.
Right. So with Bernardo, I'm kind of with you that the thing is, if we're being honest, I think there could be a bit of a chance that Bernardo might go, because I think at his age he might think I could go somewhere and have another couple of good years somewhere else.
Who's going to buy him though?
Pass. I don't know that. I'm not an agent.
No, but I'm trying to say he's always saying I want to go to Benfica.
Yeah, well, no one's ever. Well, the only people that have ever offered money on it for him has been bloody PSG and Saudi. So let's move on to Gundo. Are we all in agreement? Gundo, it's sad because we all wanted him back. We all got excited when he came back, but the truth is he was supposed to be coming back as a bit part player. He's played way too many games, and I feel a bit sad that it probably ends the way it does, to be honest. But I think it's time he goes, right?
I think it's very unfortunate that Gundo came in, yes, to play last 20 minutes of games just to tighten it up and make sure we won. And then Rodri went down.
Yeah.
And then he's having to play majority of the games for 90 minutes. And he's just not there for that now. He's 34, 35 years of age. You can't expect. So he's been unfortunate. But I agree with you. If we can find in the situation now we've got other players now, I think Gundo can. I sign him as a coach. That'd be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let him get the youth team.
Yeah, I would agree. 100% with Gundo. I'd almost say with this contract extension that apparently does kick in if I think he plays maybe one more game or something. I can't remember what it is. But I don't know if City renegotiate with him for a player coach role, maybe. That if I was City, and for me as a City fan, that doesn't want to see legends like Gundogan end like this, I think that would be a fitting way for it to end. That maybe moves into a player more of a coach role. And
is he going to want that? Is he going to want that?
Gundogan, bro, I think he would want that. I think Gundogan knows his.
He wants to go to Turkey.
He wants to go Turkey, doesn't he? He wants to go Turkey and Turkey. See, this is a thing that even if his contract extension does kick in, I actually do think there's a good chance that is it Galatasaray. There's a club over in Turkey that want him. They really want him because of the fact that he's done a lot of great things for Turkey. He's always fought the fight for Turkey. Let's move on to one of the main ones, Kevin De Bruyne.
No, bye.
He has to go.
Sorry,
you both. Because that will hurt people in the chat. Jessica, I know you're going to be one. But
as I said, and I was attacked on Twitter, I said 2 seasons ago, let's start moving away from KDB. And it wasn't me being a hater or saying I don't like him. I was just saying we will reach a point where we will just have to say go. Because this is what happens. And the thing about the KDB thing is, this is one of the positions that a creator like KDB, we had to bring somebody in advance, regardless they wouldn't get the minutes. Because KDB was getting injured. KDB was unreliable. Yes, he would come on sometimes like the Newcastle game. People point out, Alan, every time you talk about saying KDB, people always bring back the Newcastle game. I get it. But those are just flashes in the past.
It was his first game back, right?
I know, but the thing is...
Bro, for me, with KDB, is... That was great, but we don't even need to talk on this season. The writing was on the wall last season. He came back, and when he was coming on as a bit part player, right, he was looking good. Yeah. Back end of last season, when we started playing him repeatedly, he started looking rubbish. He wasn't impacting games. He's been pulled off as a sub against Arsenal and Liverpool last season. He got pulled off, because his performance was it wasn't impacting the game. We then saw in the Euros that for Belgium, again, the start of the Euros, he was looking great. By the end of the Euros, he was looking leggy as hell, right? Then we move into this season, and unfortunately, this season, he's not making basic passes now. Passes. And again, I hate to see it. This is where it's moving on players at the right time, and maybe that is one for maybe why Bernardo should be moved on at the right time. But for me, when I see anything reporting that Kevin De Bruyne might get a contract extension, I think, what are we doing?
I know, and you know what? When I told people this, and I know people are getting angry, and I've had an argument with somebody who I won't mention their name. It's not an argument, but a back and forth, who they don't want to accept even a minute that KDB has to be moved on. And it's all sentiment.
Mad.
And it's all sentiment. It's nothing about football.
But you know, the worst thing, and the worst thing is, Patrick, right, that I remember I've always absolutely loved how we've managed our legends, right? And this goes from, right, the first one would probably be Zabaleta, right? Then got to a point where it was like, do you know what? If you stay any longer, you're going to be seeing a lot of the bench. When you come on, you're going to look leggy, right? No, do you know what? You've given us a great service. Go on a free. That means you as our legend get some extra money in the bank for your signing on fee, and you get to play football at a level that suits you, right? Or in a country that suits you. And you can go Zabaleta. You can go Vincent Kompany. You can go David Silva.
Even Yaya. Pep gave him a good goodbye. Remember? A good game.
All of
give him a hug, played him.
You can go Fernandinho. It was always a thing that once you got to a point where you'd done maybe 7 to 10 years at City, consistently working your arse off and winning trophies with this club, earning a great wage, to keep a player and put them on the bench is not treating a legend fairly, right?
Yeah.
So when people say, oh, it's great for him to retire. No, I actually think like the best way to retire is to manage your career yourself, right? To go, no, do you know what? I want to go and play in a league where I'm going to get paid more money and it's going to be at my pace and I'm going to decide when I leave. Then they'll come back to City, have a testimonial. We need to bring those back a bit more. And, you know, and the prime example was Aguero. Like everyone was saying, no, we should have kept him longer. We got rid of Aguero at the right time. Now, this is what happens with when you don't get rid of players at the right time. Fernandinho, we got rid of at the right time, right?
Yeah.
Gundogan, we got rid of at the right time. Unfortunately, we were stupid enough to bring him back. Kyle Walker probably should have gone at the same time as well. And this is it with KDB. If KDB goes at the end of this season, we're still going with very, very, very fond memories, right? And he gets to go earn a nice buck and he'll be back. We know Kevin De Bruyne will be back. He'll forever be part of this club, right? Yeah. We don't have to keep him for him to be part of this club. Right, right. Let's move on to the point because I think
I agree with Kate. I agree with what you said about KDB before you disappear. It's the same as David Silva. You know, I started crying when David Silva left because he was my favourite player.
Yeah,
right?
I think everybody did. I think everybody.
My favourite player, best player I've ever seen City, without any doubt. And
hold on.
That's the debate.
Did you ever see Colin Bell?
No.
Yes.
Right. So you're saying David Silva over Colin Bell because I didn't, so I can't comment on it.
Right. Well, I saw Colin Bell when he got injured against Man United. Right. And he came back. He wasn't the same player. Right. Nowhere near. Right. He'd lost.
That's KDB. That's also KDB, isn't it? Similar to KDB.
KDB was a very similar footballer, right, to him. David Silva was an out-and-out playmaker. Right. We could actually do with a David Silva right now, to be fair. Because he would find gaps in people's defences. I just think KDB's been him and David Silva have been our best ever players we've had at City in different ways. But it comes to a point when you have to say goodbye. And, you know, and at the moment, Kevin's picked up some very nasty injuries. And the last one when he's got that scar at the back of his leg when he's had the operations on his hamstring, that has played a pivotal role in my decision to say, go and play somewhere else for a year or so.
Yeah,
agreed. Retire.
Okay.
And I love him, and he'll always be a legend.
But that's fine. And this is the thing. Yeah. My key is that with this conversation, there's a difference between saying it's time for a player to move on, right? Which I would hope to think with all of these players, that's what we're doing. And what we see online when people are saying, get out of my club, fuck off, all of that, yeah. For me, none of these players deserve that. And it certainly will never be something that comes out of my mouth. So with KDB, it's not, I don't think it's disrespectful to say, unfortunately, like, he can't be happy watching the way he's performing at the moment. So let's move on to two more. And I think these two are interesting ones. Kovacic.
But as long as we get the right midfielder in, bye-bye.
Because if we're getting, and I think this is the issue that where we're looking at right here, I think a lot of the players that we want to get rid of, Bernardo, Kevin De Bruyne, Kovacic, ILKAY Gundogan, them four, right? Yeah. 4 leaders, 4 experienced players, and 4 midfielders.
If we get the right midfielders in, so we need to buy for me 2.
Yeah.
Okay. If we get those 2 that he wants, then Kovacic can be moved on.
Right. So we're saying Gundogan move on. We're saying De Bruyne move on.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying Bernardo stay.
Yes. Foden moves on.
Pardon?
What?
I'm joking.
Right.
Foden-
No, I don't think you are. I don't
no.
think you are. This is
Foden-
the thing. I don't think you are joking. I
No,
think you
Foden-
actually.
No, Foden moves on to the bench. Moves on.
Right. Okay. Okay. I think this is. I'm going to remember this. Martin, remember this with Patrick. I think he wants Foden to move on.
You just told
Right.
Martin, don't ever tell me that I said Foden to move on, because
Right. So
just
I
Patrick.
think we're in agreement. Gundogan and De Bruyne move on. Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm with this. Yeah. If I get rid of my sentiment, and my sentiment will always have Bernardo stay, but we have to keep one or two, right? If we're going to keep both, I'd keep Cover and Bernardo. But if we're only going to keep one of them, I would keep Kovacic over Bernardo Silva. And
Personal
that is bad for me.
That's personal performance, isn't it? Personal performance.
Based on
sentiment. Yeah, right.
And,
If there's sentiment, look, for me, Silva, there's also sentiment.
Yeah.
And yet we say
Kovacic has been all right this year. He's generally been okay.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good guy, especially at the start of the season.
He was one of our best players at the start of the season. He was. All right. And I think Kovacic alongside Rodri. I think there's actually an argument that Kovacic or Bernardo, and this is where I think Kovacic and Bernardo, we might end up keeping both, because I think with Rodri back and with Nico Gonzalez, I think if we were then rotating Bernardo and Kovacic, I think we've got no issues whatsoever there. I think rotating them, I think we start seeing a lot better Bernardo or Kovacic. Right, last one on the list. Ederson.
He wants to go. I think he wants to go.
Right. Does he? Have people seen this somewhere? I get last summer, Saudi were flirting with him, but he made the decision not to go last summer, right? Has anyone since last summer where
Wait, did he make the decision, or the money did not reach the money that City wanted? I think, remember, the money did not. The reports were City wanted 50 for him, I think so, and the 50 never came.
Okay, that might be it then. Right. I think getting rid of Ederson could be the biggest mistake we make.
If he wants to stay, he can stay.
You're not Pep Guardiola here, Alan. You're not doing that.
I'd keep him. Well, I believe him, but I'd keep him.
I think it's a big risk getting rid of him. Right. If we got rid of him, I'm sure from what we've seen this season, are we all in agreement? If we get rid of him, however good Ortega is as a second keeper, we're not having Ortega as our main keeper, are we?
No, you're going now to buy a top-class keeper.
Right. Okay, cool. So we have to go
Do you know who I would bring back? Trafford.
I think Trafford. I haven't seen enough of him to comment on him.
I've seen quite a few games of him this year. He's done well this year.
Everybody wants that keeper who's playing tonight against Dortmund. Who's that keeper? Is it
It's not Douglas.
Chevalier?
See, this is where I'll be honest. I just fear that if we get rid of Ederson and we don't get the right person in, I mean, hopefully the scouts have been looking into it, but oh, hold on, let me just see this. Right, okay.
He's looking at Martin's text you sent him.
All right, sorry, I'm just.
Martin has probably sent him a text.
Yeah,
he has.
Patrick, Martin's going to be ringing me about Bernardo.
Okay, right. So in that case, based on what I've just seen, then if it is right, then yeah, I hope our scouts have been doing a lot of scouting work and have found a replacement for Ederson. I do think that if Ederson leaves this summer, it probably is good for his status at the club, because things really haven't dropped off. Oh, they'd definitely be good for that as well, because I think he'll be going Saudi. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So for me, I'd be very careful with selling Ederson. Very, very careful. Are you two, Patrick? What's your thought? Would you want rid of Ederson?
Do you want me to be honest with you? If Ederson left and we brought in a top class keeper, I wouldn't lose any sleep. I think look, this is what I want to say. What he's done for us is the same thing as what I'm saying. What he's done for us, I think, with if Pep Guardiola wants to evolve as a manager, I think we do need a fresh keeper. I think we need a keeper who has a lot of concentration. Ederson has been good for what he's done, and I appreciate him, and he's obviously won us a lot. But I think the next level of keeper we get, same thing as when Arteta got rid of Ramsdale and brought in Raya to take over. I think we need a more serious keeper. We need somebody who, like, I don't know, man. I keep saying this, and I told this to somebody, and somebody was arguing with me about it. I said, if City had Alisson or Courtois in those UCL games, I think would have won UCLs by now. I think if you had Courtois and Alisson, even I know they're bad with their feet, but if you had Courtois and Alisson in those UCL games, I think we would have won those UCL games. Can I ask you?
But we wouldn't have. Would we have got to those positions?
I think Alisson is catching that Kai Havertz shot. He's blocking that.
Can I have your opinion on this? It depends on your answer.
I don't. Sorry, just quickly. I don't think we would have if we didn't have Ederson. Though it's all great saying that. Yeah, we might have caught that Havertz.
I know. You're talking about Inter.
No. I thought Inter was very fitting. The fact that his shot stopping, and it's not just the Inter game. The season we won the Champions League. If you look at every single knockout stage, he made pivotal saves in every single game. Right, but what I would say about Chelsea as an example in the final, yes, maybe Alisson, maybe Courtois would have saved that goal. Right. However, I personally don't think with either of those two in goal, we would have got to the final, because I think the way especially back then, now's a little bit different. However, back then, the style of play we had would not have worked with other goalkeepers. Never would have worked, right? Centurions would not have happened.
See, this is why I keep saying that.
It wouldn't have happened. Sorry, bro, that prime City, the Centurions, the 100-point season, that would never have happened without Ederson in goal. So never. Wouldn't have happened.
Did you hear my speech when I was saying for what we were trying to do, I think it's good. But I think going forward, you do need somebody who is...
Yeah. This is a really good point as well someone made. Courtois and KDB would never happen at a football club as well.
I know.
That is very true.
And here's the thing, we've got to thank Courtois, because we maybe never would have had KDB if it wasn't for Courtois.
Oh yeah, he could have gone to Madrid.
He would have stayed at Chelsea. He left Chelsea. He's when Mourinho brought back Courtois from Atletico Madrid, KDB said, "If you're bringing him back to this football club, I'm gone."
And then he could have, if Courtois did not go to Madrid, maybe KDB could have actually ended up going to Madrid.
Yeah, exactly. So right.
So thank you, Courtois.
Right. So, let me ask you one question, Daps.
Yeah, go
on. Are Man City changing the way they play more long ball?
I believe we will be. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe we will be. I think certainly in the short term we will be. Yeah. But I also think that what we need to do, because I've seen a few people in the chat say a few times that if we keep Bernardo, if we keep Gundogan, there's certain players, if we keep them, Pep will keep reverting back to them. And I think that's a really good point, because Pep's go-to is to play Pep's style of football, right? From what Pep has said in interviews recently, it does look like Pep is ready to evolve and Pep is ready to change things, right? But his go-to will always be low block. If we can't get in behind them, all right, well, I know how to deal with that, right? And based on that, I do think that's where we need a couple of resources that still allow Pep to play Pep football, right?
Okay. All right.
I think we have to be able to do both, right? Because if you just rely on the balls over the top, you ain't going to win the league, right? Because you got teams like Forest that will go, fuck off. We're just going to sit in a low block and you ain't going to do that to us. So I think that's where we need to get players like Florian Wirtz. We need players like Echeverri to come of age and to get a time in this team. But I think Pep will change. I think I've seen enough in his interviews to suggest that he's ready to make some changes.
To me, that's the $1 million question. If he does,
100%. Yeah. Look, we have to think Pep changes things, and that's what's made me laugh so much when I've seen. In fact, I saw a certain channel, and at that point, this is a really, really good time to put his name up. I saw a certain channel had a video today, Patrick.
Which channel? Oh, mine.
Your channel.
Oh, yeah. I take pride in my...
Could you remind me what the title of your show today was?
Has Pep Guardiola been found out? That was
Right.
my
Now, I
title.
find comments like that very funny, right? Because Pep changes his style every single season. He
No, I
changes
know.
his style. But
he has got a
also
basic.
know-
He's got a basic, though. He's got
Yeah,
a basic to his style. This is what I also wanted to say. Somebody said this on my channel, and it's good. Somebody was saying Pep Guardiola can actually, these same players can actually change how they play. Because somebody was like, oh, but these players have been playing this tiki-taka. They cannot change all of a sudden. Bollocks. Because Bernardo Silva was not a tiki-taka baller when he was at Monaco. He wasn't a tiki-taka. Jack Grealish was not a tiki-taka baller when he was at
100%
Aston Villa. So these same players can be given instructions. And we've seen it this season. Like Alan, haven't you seen Pep tell some of the games he's like, get off the brakes, isn't it? And you're like, oh my God, they're free. They're finally free. They're playing free football.
Yeah.
I think it's up to the manager. So if he wants to change, he can change it. Let's not forget 2017, 2018. That's not the same Man City as this one. That
No. Pep changes, bro. Pep changes. He does that. I think this is an interesting time because the beautiful thing is, right, is that if you're supporting certain football clubs, sorry, them lot over the road, as an example, yes, you know that the reason why they're in such a shit place, and I really think they're in a shocking place, great PR stunt and all of that, but the fact is, until the Glazers get out of their club, right? In fact, I've just realised, because Cass usually sits here, apologies, City fans, you're having to put up with this Norwich scarf. Anyway, until them fuckers get out of their club, in fact, I'm not going to call them fuckers, I love them. Until the Glazers get out.
I do. Mate, I want them to stay forever.
Yeah, we do. We do. But I think the difference between them and us is that, yes, we've had a bad season, but in January, we saw our board's intent, right? Our board are not going to allow us to drop off. They're not going to allow us, right? They know that we are where we are through success. Let's be clear. Manchester City are the beast that we are through success. Yeah. Through, yes, spending money and success, right? So
let's just hope we have some good news next week.
Some good what?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Of course.
But you keep reminding me that I have just put it at the back of my head, like I don't care. I just want to do like, you know, the Champions League thing where I was just at work working and my phone just went, oh, you've been.
It's going to come once that Brighton game Monday morning. From Monday morning, be on high alert, right? Be on high alert. I'm telling you now, it's coming. The storm is coming, right? Or it might not be a storm. Spring is coming, and spring brings some beautiful, cloud-free, sunny days, right? So, who knows? Either way, it's going to be fun and games, right? But the thing is, we have a board that will keep backing our manager, right? Yeah. And so I think this next, we know in the summer, they're going to back the manager. And it's interesting to see what Pep does with the players that comes in, because we've got a new director of football. A new director of football is going to want to stamp his authority on it. And we have to remember, a director of football kind of outranks a manager, right? Yeah. Now, so, you know, of course, when you're Pep Guardiola, it's pretty difficult to have anyone outrank you as far as a say. And he's earned the right to have a say. But this manager, this new director of football, will be having conversations with Pep and saying, look, we need to change the style of football. We need to bring in different players. We need to bring in young players. We need to refresh. So I think it's going to be good. I really appreciate you both being with me. I know it's gone over the hour mark and football is starting. So people are going to go and watch that. People, remember to go and check out right there. Scan the QR code or visit www.terracecult.com and use the code SouthStand15 to get 15% off. Some great items on there, and it's all Football Clubber. So go and check it out. Patrick, your channel. True City fan.
Yeah, that my channel over there. Very soon it's going to be TCF.
Okay.
To brand it very short, you know.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't do that one here.
Yeah,
we went long.
No, never fouls indeed.
Never foul. NAF, never foul. Yeah, but right here we are. The South Stand's a pretty long one. But
yeah.
We know what we are. So
we can also shorten that one. I'll see. Maybe we'll be WSS. You never know.
It's Watts.
Anyway, guys, go find me there if you are paper out like myself. I'm joking.
What?
Hoping somebody take it.
You know what? I actually do think, that Patrick, I think that your takes could be wilder if we don't keep reining you in.
Martin does that, don't worry.
But I honestly, I feel at times it's like, right, I need to reach out to Patrick, need to pull him in a little bit because he's getting it. I saw that thing this morning and thought,
but you know what? Overall, even that video, Martin thought it was clickbait. But I was like, Martin, I'm actually here to discuss.
It's a conversation.
I was like, I'm actually here. Like the thing about it is, I think I've always asked very difficult conversations. I think that's even how I ended up meeting Alan in my comments, and he came on my channel one time. Back in the days, because Alan.
Oh, I thought you said Haaland.
Alan
watches your channel. People, go and subscribe to True City Fan right now.
No. Like Alan, I think came on one time when we were having also another difficult conversation. It's just sometimes you have to ask these questions because what I've noticed is people want somebody to always be happy clapping, and I get it. It's grand.
Martin for that, don't worry.
No, it's not Martin. But the thing is, I have been watching Big Steve. Big Steve also asked the very difficult questions.
100%.
100%. You know what? Between me and Big Steve, I think Big Steve is more harsher because Big Steve is harsh. Come on. I'm telling you, I was watching a video and I was like, oh my God, Big Steve goes in. He like,
bro. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's this season, like, sometimes you just have to be real. Like, like, bro, I remember, see, it's funny because Martin, if you're still watching, I actually didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to say this yesterday, but on yesterday's show, Martin was saying about how he came to reality back in about November time with where City were.
Yeah.
I remember doing a show with LB and Martin in December, right? Not November, December. And I said, for me, I think we should just go out of the Champions League this season. And both of them were like, fuck off. No, we could still win it. And I said, no, we couldn't. No, we could not win the.
I remember talking to you around about the same time, and you said, and I said, no chance, not with the side we've got.
Exactly. I was saying, no, we need to go out the Champions League and focus on getting understanding where we are this season, drawing a line under it. Martin and LB were still going, no, we can win this Champions League. That was back in December, right? But anyway, Martin, that's a conversation for next Tuesday. Anyway, thank you to everyone that stayed here. Please smash a like on the way out. And one thing I will ask, if you're watching this now live or if you're watching this back, please in the comments, I want you to tell me what players you would sell and what players you would keep, right? And I don't want you to just list one. What I want you to do is in your comment, I want you to go through as much of the squad as possible and tell me keep or sell. So not in the live chat. This is in the comments afterwards. I want you to do a keep or sell based on pretty much the whole squad because then I can put some context to it. Because
wait, Daps, before I leave, like before we leave and close. Obviously, I'm not paper, but there's one man who I think should go.
Right, I agree with you. Go on, say his name. Go on, say it.
I don't know how to say his name, but the assistant manager. I think he has to be here. Because you know what? I studied him. Every time he's here, we ship the most goals.
Well, the Spanish Kevin Keegan. Don't you think
he does look like Kevin Keegan.
He's a Spanish Kevin Keegan, and all he does is just sit there and nod. Like he's literally Pep's just. Like little, like you know, he's like Pep's little stress ball.
He does this. It's always like this. He's like,
he's always like that.
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Can I just say before I go? If you want to, as I'm in Melbourne and help run the Melbourne Supporters Club, if you need to find us to watch games, we're at the Imperial Hotel at the top of Burke Street in the centre of Melbourne. The pub is open no matter what time the game is on. So come and watch the games 2, 3, 4 in the morning or early morning games. People are in the pub. People are in the pub. It depends on if it's a night game. It's usually 7 o'clock in the morning because it's 11 hours difference. But there's a lot of people who do go in and watch the games. We've got nearly 400 members now, and probably 80% of them are expats from Manchester. So lovely. If you are English and you're missing home, it's a good network to have. So straight away, so come in.
Okay, brilliant. And actually, this weekend I get to meet Pat.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he's coming over. He's coming over for the Brighton game. So.
Yeah, he works for Qantas.
No, not you. No, the other
I was like, when did I even sign up for that particular one?
No, I'm on to you. You need to just tell me when.
He works for Qantas and gets a massive discount.
Yeah. But so people, hope you have a good evening. I'm traveling up to Manchester tomorrow, so keep an eye on the channel. There might be something tomorrow evening. If not, there will be something Friday. I just need to work out my timings because I've got to get up to Manchester for the weekend. But thanks to everyone for being here.
Just a quick plug. I'm also to be seen on the Mancunian Way. Sorry, Martin. I'll get it right.
Oh yeah, always forever. Follow Mancunian Way. Always.
So
always. And we will see you soon, people. Love. We are out. And make sure to drop those comments.